Okay, this is a tutorial on how to create the motion for your train in Autodesk Inventor. We want it to move down the track. I've went ahead and added in a second piece of track just to give us a little more distance for the train to go. The first thing we need to do is open up our wheel, and we need to put in a work plane. So we're going to go to plane, open up our origin box, and we're going to select an XZ plane. And we want it to be right dead center, so we don't want it to have an offset at all. Go ahead and hit the check mark, and then be sure and hit save. Once you hit save, you'll go back here and you'll notice that your planes are in there now, and so they're good to go. And what we're going to do is we need to do an angle constraint to start with. So we're going to do the first option here, solution 1, and we're going to do an angle constraint between our two back wheels. Hit apply. Then we need to do an angle constraint between our front wheel and our back wheel on the same side. And then again over here on this side we need to do the same thing. Alright, so once we get that in, what we also need to do, we need to do one more angle constraint, and that is between the back of the train and our right rear wheel. The work plane on our right wheel. So we're going to do the back of our train and then our work plane. And you'll notice it lines all the wheels up. We're going to hit apply there. Now we're going to go to our parameters, and we're going to scroll down to the last entry that's there, and we're going to rename it crank. And this should be the 0 degree that we just did with the body. So we're going to go ahead and rename it to crank, and we're going to hit done. Okay, so we've got so far we've got our work planes in. We've aligned those with angle constraints. We have lined them up with the back of the train. We've got everything going there. We've renamed this as crank, and now we're going to start putting in our drive constraints. So we're going to right click the angle constraint, open up the body in your train assembly view, open up the body here by hitting the plus sign, and we're going to go to the angle constraint that we just put in, and then we're going to go to drive constraints. And if we open up this menu, expand on it, we are going to where it says end, we're going to put this in at 1,000 degrees, and then down here where it says increment, we're going to do that as 10. Okay, and what this will do is it'll show us that the train will move. It won't go anywhere right now, but the wheels will actually rotate. So I'm going to hit play, and we see that it just kind of rolls back and forth and doesn't really, do what we want it to yet. But we've got that much done, and that's where we have to be for this particular part. Alright, so the next thing that we need to do is we need to do a flush constraint between the back of the train and the back of our track here, and that just aligns it to where we want it to be right there. Alright, now on our flush constraint we need to go in here where we just put it in, right click and hit edit, and here where we do our offset we're going to type in, put a parenthesis and then put crank times, and we're going to put in 3.14 times 2.5 IN, close your parentheses, divided by 360 DEG. And if you don't type in the IN and the DEG, it won't work. It won't give you what you want. So you've got to go ahead and put that in, and then just hit OK. Alright, so now we've got our drive constraint set. Now what we can do is we can go down to where to that angle constraint that we were just at, right click on it and hit drive constraint, and now when we hit play we'll notice our train moves down the track. Of course mine, it goes off the track a little bit, but you can add more track to make it keep going. In order to change how far it goes, we can change the end here. So I'm going to change mine to just 150, and you'll see that it doesn't go, it doesn't go very far at all. Or I can go to 1500, and you'll see it'll go and keep going. And we just bring it back in reverse. But that is how you put the motion in your train.